And after some time, she added more weight because she was nursing her daughter, but this did not sit well with her husband. He constantly reminded her of how fat she had become. Once upon a time, there lived a girl named Olana. She was the most beautiful girl in the village and everyone loved her. Olana was very hardworking and respectful, and all the elders in the village wished for her to marry their son. Her beauty was like that of 7 maidens. She was admired by all the eligible bachelors in the village, and they all wished to marry her, even those that were very rich. But Olana chose Ejike, her long-time love. When it was time for her to get married, her mother advised her to rethink her decision about marrying Ejike because he was a poor man and could barely take care of himself, talk more of a family. But Olana stood her ground and insisted that Ejike was the only man she would be able to marry. Her parents had no choice than to support her decision, and they got married. After their wedding, Olana began to support Ejike's dreams. She would help him in the farm and also help sell the harvest in the market. This went on for a long time, and Ejike's story began to change. He was no longer the poor man people knew him to be, and all this was possible because of Olana. Olana and Ejike tried for some years to have children, but they couldn't. She began to visit different herbalists for help, and they gave her all sorts of herbs and concoction to drink. After some time, Olana became pregnant. They were so happy as their prayers had come to pass, and Ejike showered her with all sorts of gifts. All was going well until Olana began to put on some weight. Ejike began to avoid her, and whenever she's eating, her husband will begin to look at her with disgusting eyes. This made Olana so sad, and she decided to talk to Ejike about it. She told Ejike all that she had been feeling lately and asked why he was neglecting her. And Ejike told her that she had begun to add too much weight, which is making her look like an elephant and causing her beauty to fade away. When Olana heard this, she was so sad and she began to cry. She told Ejike that it was as a result of the pregnancy, and further told him that once the baby was born, the food cravings would stop. But Ejike was not satisfied with the answer. They continued to live like that, and Olana could not wait to give birth so she could go back to the way she used to be. She could not tell her mother about what happened because she had warned her not to marry him. And so, she kept everything to herself and waited for when she would give birth. After a few weeks, Olana gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. Everyone was very happy as they had waited for years. Ejike was not very happy as he thought the child would be a boy. But Olana told him that they would try again, and they named the child Ada. Olana became very happy ever since she had her daughter. And after some time, she added more weight because she was nursing her daughter. But this did not sit well with her husband. He constantly reminded her of how fat she had become. After a few months, he sent all the maids in the house away. He claimed that they were the reason Olana became lazy, and that if she starts doing the chores by herself, she wouldn't have the time to be eating and getting fat. This broke Olana's heart, and she had no choice than to take care of her family and the home all by herself. When her mother came visiting, she asked Olana what happened to the servants, and Olana lied to her that they all resigned and left because she didn't increase their pay. Her mother did not believe her, and she began to suspect that something was wrong. After a while, She became used to the routine, but this did not make her lose any weight, even when she wanted it to. Whenever Olana came close to her husband, he would look at her in disgust, and after a while, she stopped trying. Not too long, Ejike married a second wife, and she was very beautiful as well. And she was from the neighboring village. When this happened, Olana was heartbroken as she never expected her husband to betray her in such a manner. She finally opened up to her mother and told her all that she had been going through. Her mother was shocked and she consoled her. She told Olana that her house was always opened for her. She advised Olana to start doing something for herself so she wouldn't be dependent on Ejike. Olana took her mother's advice and began to trade. Early in the morning, she would give her daughter Ada to her mother before going to the market. And later in the day, she would come and pick her up when she was done selling in the market. She continued like this for a long time, and after a while, she stopped paying attention to Ejike and his new wife. One day, Ada was playing in the backyard and she mistakenly broke a plate. When Ejike's second wife saw this, she gave Ada a beating of her life. When Ada started screaming, Olana came out and saw the new wife beating her daughter. In anger, she descended on her and warned her never to touch her child again. When Olana and Ada got inside, Olana asked Ada to tell her what happened, and Ada told her about the plate. When Olana went to see the type of plate it was so she could replace it, she found out that the plate actually belonged to her. It was among the things her mother bought for her when she got married. She was furious and she decided to tell Ejike about it. But Ejike supported the new wife and told Olana that her daughter was as useless as her. When Olana heard this, she started crying as she never expected such words from Ejike. She couldn't take it anymore. She packed her bags and left the house with her daughter Ada and began to live with her mother. She continued to work very hard, and after some time, she built a house and moved in with her daughter. Meanwhile, Ejike asked her to return her bride price, and her people did. And his second wife gave birth to a son for him. After a while, a man named Obinna asked for her hand in marriage, and she was shocked. Obinna was her friend way back. He had always loved her, but she was blinded by her feelings for Ejike. And he married a lovely lady few years after Olana got married to Ejike, but tragically lost her to childbirth shortly after. When Obinna found out that Olana was no longer married, he decided to ask for her hand in marriage as he had always loved her and the two of them were still very good friends. Olana was scared and she told him to give her some time to think about it. When Olana told her mother, she advised her to go ahead with the marriage as Obinna was a very good man and his family was respected in the society. Olana hesitated at first, and when Obinna asked her the reason she rejected his proposal, Olana told him that she was too fat and ugly to be with him. Obinna was surprised, and he told her that she wasn't ugly and that she was the most beautiful woman he knew. These words melted her heart, and Obinna advised her to be more confident in her skin. After a few weeks, Olana and Obinna got married, and Obinna treated Ada like his own child, and soon they were blessed with other children. One day, Olana came back. A woman had laughed at her at the market square. When Olana told her husband Obinna, he asked her to turn lemons into lemonades. "What does that mean?" she said to Obinna. Obina advised her to use her body size to her advantage. He advised her to embrace the name and be proud of it instead of feeling bad. Olana took his advice, and whenever they called her big, she would embrace it and begin to brag with it. Soon, people knew her as the big woman, and whenever they came to her shop to buy anything, they would begin to call her the big woman, the tigress herself, and so many other names. And instead of her to be sad, she would begin to dance for them, and they would even buy more than they came for. Soon, she took over the market, and her competitors began to work for her as they no longer had customers. She became very popular in the village, and everyone were happy to see her because of the joy in her heart. Meanwhile, Ejike was set up by his new wife after he found out that the child was not his, and she parted away with his property and left him with nothing and no one to help him. He went to Olana and began to beg for forgiveness. And when he saw how Olana's life turned out, he started regretting ever treating her badly. Obina begged Olana to forgive him because of Ada, and she did, and she warned him never to step his foot in her house again. Because of the pity they had for him, Obina referred him to his friend, and he began to work in his plantation as one of his laborers, so he can be able to meet ends needs. Olana and Obina's businesses continued to flourish, and their children had the best parents and lived happily ever after. This is the end of this story. Thank you for listening to this story. If you want us to make more videos, hit on the like and subscribe button below and comment which country you are watching from. We love and appreciate you. Bye.